Okay, so we're back with the Tamiya 1/350 scale King George V, and if you remember from the unboxing, I've already done a bit of work on the hull section, mainly around the keel, and also marked on the deck pieces the parts that need to be removed, so that the wooden deck sections from the pontos kit can be fitted. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the deck pieces, and dry fit the photo-etch de-gaussing cables around the top of the hull section. So I'm just removing the tape holding them in position. So now that they're out of the way, we can fit the de-gaussing cable, and just for now they'll be taped in place for gluing permanently later on. So we'll place them on the other bench out of the way, along with the instructions, and we can now start work on the first fret of photo-etch from the pontos kit, which is the de-gaussing cables. This fret contains around 8 pieces that, when placed in order on the ship's hull, will go around the entire hull section. Photo-etch is quite hard to cut, so a hard surface needs to be used in order to avoid accidentally bending the pieces. So here I'm using an old set of kitchen scales with a glass top to provide a suitable cutting surface. Photo-etch can have a lot of spring in it when you first start to use it, so it can become difficult to fit on curves or bend into shape without it springing back into its original shape. In order to reduce the springiness and make the photo-etch easier to bend into place, we use a process called annealing, which is heating up the photo-etch until it changes colour. I'm using a chef's torch here, and a great deal of care needs to be taken while doing this, especially with the very fine detailed parts, like these de-gaussing cables, as it would be very easy to overheat and melt them beyond use. So just by using your eye, you can see when the parts have changed colour, and then they're ready for use. To remove photo-etch from the fret, you need a craft knife with a suitable blade, and you will use this to cut the very fine tabs that you'll find around the piece holding it in the fret. The frets in the photo-etch pieces can be extremely small, so a digital microscope can come in very handy. This gives you some idea how tiny the parts can be, but also if you look in the centre of the part you can see a notched area. This is to help ensure tiny precise bends in the photo etch. This first part wraps around the bow and points down both sides of the ship. Then it's just getting it taped into place for the time being. And it will be glued into place permanently just before it's painted. Then just repeat the whole process for the other 7 pieces to complete this part of the hull. Now for the stern piece to finish it all off and complete the loop round the hull. Going back to the kit instructions, stage 1 is the undercarriage area around the props, but we're going to leave that for the time being, and we'll do it when we get to the painting stage, as the parts could easily get damaged. Having laminated working copy of the manual allows me to make notes without ruining the instructions, and just helps keep everything a little bit more organised. Stage 2 is the 3 big deck guns, so we'll get those parts off the sprue. Now we have the parts off the sprue. You can see for some parts of the kit there are very few parts and not a lot of detail on those parts. And even when put together, they can look a little bit dull and interesting. All the bags you can see here contain a turned brass element from the pontos kit, and there are 40 different elements in total. I used my 3D printer to make this parts tray and draw units, as I didn't want little bits of brass laying on the bench where they could get lost or damaged. The turned brass parts replace the barrels of these deck guns, so that's 2 bags worth that is going into this stage alone, as well as various parts off some of the frets. Looking in the pontos instructions shows how some parts of the kit are completely replaced in favour of very detailed brass sections. And I've gone through and made notes on all those parts needed for this stage. And I've also covered steps that don't apply to this model. Certain parts are for the HMS Duke of York and the HMS Prince of Wales only, so we can ignore them. And at the front of the pontos instructions we'll find a full list of all the turned brass sections and what they are. And the diagrams are actual size, so you can overlay the parts to ensure it's the correct one for what you need. I've decided to try my hand at soldering some of the larger brass pieces, so I have a soldering station that will help keep things organised, as my soldering skills aren't the best. And I've also picked up some wax pencils to aid in placing small bits of brass in difficult to reach places. So that's going to be where we leave this video, and I'll be taking a short break from uploading over the Christmas period, but I'll still be doing some modelling, so a new video will appear around New Year. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like and subscribe. Have a Merry Christmas. I hope Santa brings you lots of stash stuff, and have a Happy New Year. And that's it for 2024.